It began with the smallest of shifts, the kind you barely notice until it's too late. My wife, Cara, had started spending more time with a new group of women from work. 3 co-workers who bonded over drinks, late-night texts, and a shared philosophy that men were always the root of every problem. At first, I didn't mind. Everyone needs friends, and I figured she deserved a social circle of her own. I trusted her. I trusted us. But something in her started changing. They encouraged each other to keep secrets, to detach, to teach men lessons. I came across one of their posts once. Asterisk, make him miss you by disappearing, asterisk, and chuckled at the time, thinking it was just internet nonsense. But it stopped being funny when those ideas began creeping into my own home. One evening, I forgot to take out the trash. An honest mistake. The kind of thing we'd always handle with a light jab or a playful eye roll. But this time, Cara erupted. Not a passing annoyance. This was a 20-minute tirade, her voice shaking with rage as she hurled accusations about how I didn't appreciate her, how I took her for granted, how I needed a wake-up call. There was something unnatural about it, like she was performing, rehearsed, calculated. I didn't even recognize her in that moment. The next morning, she packed a small bag. I asked where she was going, confused, still trying to process the night before. I need space, she said coldly. Just a few days. Can we talk about this? I asked. No, don't call. I'll reach out when I'm ready. Then she walked out the door, slamming it behind her, leaving me standing in the foyer, stunned and hollow. I kept asking myself what I'd done so wrong, what I missed. The silence in the house was suffocating. By the 3rd day, I was unraveling. I texted her. No reply. I called once, straight to voicemail. I stared at my phone until the screen dimmed. I tried giving her the space she'd asked for, but the uncertainty gnawed at me. Then, late that evening, I saw something on social media that made my stomach twist. One of her friends posted a selfie, all 4 of them smiling, drinks raised, Cara laughing in the corner with wine in hand. The caption read, asterisk, teaching men consequences 101 nail Polish medium skin tone, hashtag girl power. Asterisk. I stared at that photo for a long time, cold settling into my bones. She wasn't taking space to reflect or fix anything. She was part of some twisted game, some performance orchestrated by women who saw relationships as battlegrounds and silence as a punishment. I felt sick, betrayed, like my entire marriage had been downgraded to a group project. This wasn't about trash. This wasn't about chores. This was about influence. Poison dripping into her ears from so-called friends who seemed more interested in control than companionship. I couldn't wrap my head around it. We used to talk about growing old together, laugh about raising stubborn kids, and adopting lazy dogs. Now she was ghosting me to teach me a lesson for simply existing as a husband who wasn't perfect, but always present. I called my brother and told him everything. He listened, then said something simple that stuck with me. Bro, you're not the one who needs a lesson. You're the one being tested. He was right. I wasn't flawless, but I was loyal. I showed up. I loved her. And now, I was being treated like some villain in a story they were rewriting without me. Desperate for clarity, I reached out to someone who always spoke the truth, Cara's mom. She had never sugarcoated anything in her life. When I told her what was going on, she sighed, long and weary. Those girls again, she muttered. Then she thanked me for being honest and promised to speak with Cara herself. The next day, she called me back, her voice heavy with disappointment. I tried, sweetheart, but she's not listening. She said, you don't deserve her presence right now. I went silent. Deserve her presence? That wasn't Cara. That was him speaking through her, using her voice like a puppet. That night, I sat in our bedroom, staring at photos on the dresser, vacations, anniversaries, the early days when love felt unshakable. Now she was playing power games, influenced by women who saw control as empowerment. My heart hurt, but something in me also began to shift. I was done feeling like the bad guy in a marriage I'd poured myself into. Then came a message I didn't expect. Leah, one of her co-workers, not part of that friend circle, sent me a text, asterisk, hey, I know this is weird, but I thought you should know. Kara and the girls planned this whole lesson. For weeks. They think it's funny. I think it's disgusting. Asterisk. She didn't stop there. She attached screenshots from their group chat. My hands trembled as I read through them. Asterisk. Ignores calls. Asterisk. Asterisk. Don't come back for at least a week. Asterisk. Asterisk. Let him stew in it. He needs to know what it feels like. Asterisk. For what? No one could say. Apparently, just being a man was enough to justify emotional warfare. That was my breaking point. I didn't text Kara. I didn't lash out. Instead, I packed a small bag, scribbled a note, and walked out. No destination listed. No goodbyes. Just gone. I drove for hours, eventually ending up at a cabin in the woods my cousin owned. No reception. No noise. Just trees, wind, and the ache in my chest. I sat by the fire that night and thought long and hard about everything. Who I'd been, who she'd become, and whether our marriage was even something I wanted anymore. 2 days later, I came home. Kara was there. I walked through the door, and her eyes widened in surprise. "Where were you?" she asked, arms folded. "Taking space," I replied calmly. "Just like you did." She didn't answer right away. Her mouth opened, then shut. I could see it, her brain scrambling for the right script. But the lines her friends had fed her didn't work if I wasn't groveling. "I was hurt," she finally said, "and I needed you to feel it too." "For what?" I asked, looking her straight in the eye. "What exactly did I do that justified you ghosting me, mocking me, and treating our marriage like some twisted lesson plan?" She didn't have an answer, just silence. And in that silence, everything we had began to crumble. I told her I'd seen the photos, read the messages, that I knew this was premeditated, that I wasn't going to play the villain in my own home. Her eyes filled with tears. She reached for me, said it was supposed to be a reset, not a punishment. But even she didn't believe that anymore. Regret showed on her face, but regret after betrayal doesn't erase what's already been done. We agreed to take a break. She moved in with her sister. I stayed in the house that used to feel like ours, but now echoed differently. It's been a few weeks. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe time will offer clarity. Maybe not. But I know this. Love doesn't vanish overnight. It erodes slowly, from neglect, from manipulation, from letting outsiders decide what should be sacred between two people. No one who truly loves you lets your marriage become a stage for someone else's power trip. She wanted to teach me a lesson, but the only one who learned something was her. And I'm no longer playing the student.